Okay. There we go. Alright. Sorry about that. I guess I just need to reset my PC a second time. Okay, so now it's at least so far working better. There we go. We got an excellent collection connection. There we go. And we've got audio. It's a little blurry, but it'll unbuffer itself and it'll look fine. My mouse did not get a good charge, so I'm going to shoot. I'm gonna get this thing on charge real quick. So we're just gonna have to leave the screen here, but that'll give some people some time to come in. Um, Bro, I deleted this. Oh, I don't understand. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. Well, now I don't have a mouse, so I do apologize for a little bit while that one charges. But how's everyone doing today? We're basically just stuck on the OBS screen for now, and that's okay. So today we're going to be talking about a few different things, just kind of back and forth on everything. We've had a few reveals the last few days. So we've had the brand new MonsterArts, which not that video is up anymore, and we'll actually explain what happened to the part 1 Godzilla stream live stream here as well. If you guys remember, some stuff happened during that stream. I got taken down in the middle of my stream from Toho, and I actually already did get a response and already basically got told what happened, and there's nothing I can do. So we'll talk about that. We're going to be talking about, obviously, the MonsterArts reveal at the convention, which is Godzilla the Ride the Great Clash. A lot of people seem to be pretty negative on it, pretty annoyed on it. I'll give you guys my thoughts. We'll look at a little bit of, we'll search together and see what the internet's fully saying. Of course, we're going to be talking about Kaiser Belial and the absolute shite show that was this morning with Nin Games. Very, very disappointed by Nin Games. In fact, disappointed so bad, don't know if I'm going to buy from them anymore. And it sounds like I didn't get my pre-order, which is true. I did not get my Kaiser Belial pre-order, but I didn't get it for another reason and not just, oh, it's sold out. So it's not just me being angry about it. Oh, it's sold out, because it is sold out right now at Nin. It's the fact that it was hours delayed, and then they had it the whole night. It said pay later available, and then after hours of being delayed, them not saying the right times and just changing it, then they changed it 2 minutes before it dropped to immediate payment instead of pay later. I don't care about immediate pay or pay later. I don't care. I just need to know 2 minutes before a drop happens. I also need to be caught up on when a drop is happening. On their Instagram, they said 4:30 Japan time, and then on their site, it said 4, and then it changed to 6, and then it was actually 8 Japan time when it actually dropped. And then, yeah, they changed the way that you could pay, so it wasn't a pay later, which doesn't work for me because I bought Legion this paycheck, so I wasn't able to get it. But if I would have known that all night, I wouldn't have even known that it had been delayed, because I wouldn't have been watching Nin Games all night while I was at work, just checking in, refreshing every 10 minutes for 3 hours straight. I was popping in and just going and checking. So I'm very very annoyed with Nin. It just not good. I personally don't like that. So disappointed boy here. It ended up being the same price that I figured it was. It ended up being about $100, give or take. So pretty good, pretty good. But we'll get to that a little bit later. This stream's probably going to be about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Like I said, I would like to or like I've been doing the last few weeks, or basically the last month almost. I typically don't like to stream when Larissa's home because I want to spend time with her and Tater. So that's kind of like my breakaway of balancing, my life and then live streaming, doing content for you guys. Is I gotta, balance it out. So I typically try not to live stream. So she's at work right now and she'll be at work for a little bit longer. So I will stream as long as I can, but once she's about home, we'll probably be ending anyways. So we've got some time. We've got a little under 2 hours. And I took an edible. So we'll see how long I'll be cognitive, and then by the time that's hitting me, we might have to end a little bit earlier. But we've got 1 or 2 more streams for the rest of the week, so don't worry if tonight or today's stream's short. We had yesterday's stream with the MonsterArts Legion unboxing, which was kind of a disaster on me. Nothing bad happened with the figure necessarily. Although I will say, all things said and done, I think I do want to stand by a statement I made in that live stream, and it shouldn't be that hard to put together a figure at that price point. Like all the claw phalanges on like her crown. That's not what it's called, but to me it almost looks like a crown. I still don't have 3 of those fully in place. It's 3 of them. The top ones, which I'm told are the hardest ones, and there's actually a sculpting reason why they're so hard. And then the second ones also kind of have a little bit of sculpting that makes it really hard to fit them in. So, but once they're in, then they're in. So, do I be too mad at it because they're trying to make it to where it doesn't fall to pieces, or am I mad because I can't, because I can't put it together because I'm kind of stupid? You see what I'm saying here? It's a lose-lose for me one way or the other, and I still want to be respectful to it. I still, I love it, but we'll get to that in the review. But Legion looks awesome. She's actually up on the shelf right now, in her spot. I think she looks good. Ooh, ah. And I don't want to say like I'm 100% looking forward to her review. I am, but I'm also like, she is large. She's kind of a little quirky, and that always means reviews sometimes are a little frustrating when we have large, kind of clunky releases, which was expected. It's not a negative thing in my mind, at least for this figure. It's just, it is an observation, trying to be unbiased and talk about all of the bad or the uncomfortable as well as the good. Not just here to talk about all the good MonsterArts does. We're here to criticize and critique, to hopefully get the absolute best product that we can. That's the whole goal. Speaking of getting the best product, let's start about our first kind of main topic, Godzilla the Ride, the Great Crash. The Godzilla you see on your screen, I just grabbed photos from the articulation series, or not photos, but the 2 posts that he has here on Instagram. So here's an up close. A lot of people seem to be mad about it. Yeah. There's a lot of people mad about it. I personally don't quite understand it, but we'll get into that. Here's this was what they posted on stream. They did show a completely different pose for this figure that we haven't. I mean, obviously we only have the 2 photos. Here's the original that they showed on stream, and then this is with a phone translate. So we do get a little information. Obviously this was painted, produced, and sculpted by Yuji Sakai because, yes, it is 95% the -1 sculpt. But there is a nice little information here. A miniature figure of the Goose machine that appears in the attraction is also included. I believe that's this ship right here, the VR ship that you're on. It's right there. And then please stay tuned for further updates. Um, yeah, it's it. I don't know. We've got some. These aren't my photos. Once again, not my photos. I don't own these. These were taken at the event, but this gives us like a little bit better look of it without all the lighting. So, Godzilla the Ride. It. What I think some people don't. I mean, most of us don't really know this. The only people that really should know this is the Japanese fans or anyone that has gone to Japan and seen the it's seen it, and it looks like some people have already went and leaked. It looked like some people leaked this already, which does always happen. The Shin Universal is out there. The Owaji one is out there. The first one is here. Yeah, look at this. That's such a good shot. I can't wait to see it in Japan. But I'm specifically trying to find, not that photo. That's Ride 1. I want to find Ride 2. Because I want to point out something. There we go. Look at this photo, guys. Boop, 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 boop. It's a YouTube video. We got to be careful. Oh, that's luminous specifically. Okay. I want to point out something very, very specific in these photos. Well, and there, see, there it is. So here's the Ride 1. You guys see the Ride 1. Here's the Ride 2. Do these two look similar? Yes. But are they one for one? No. In fact, if you're asking me, it looks like the dorsal plates off of the Ride 1.0 are just thrown on this model, which is the -1 sculpt. This is the -1 CGI model. This isn't the Ride model. So this, if everything's not this is Ride point 1. If I've got everything understood correctly, this is, yeah, see, right there. I think that confirms it. To me, at least. This is -1 with the new dorsal plates. And that's it. So, if this Great Clash Godzilla, right, is the -1 CGI model with the dorsal plates of the Ride, that would mean this figure, right, is 100% accurate. Or as close to accurate as the sculpt was to -1, which is pretty good, pretty close. Probably about, what, 70, 80%. So I guess that's just my kind of like thought process on the people that are like, oh, it's just the -1 sculpt with new dorsal plates. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, because that's what the Great Clash model, at least to me, looks like. Now, if there's anyone here that pops in the future, before this figure's out, or, you know, before I can get to seeing it myself in Japan, if someone can correct me and be like, no, it is different, it's not just -1 basically moved over, then I would be glad to admit wrong. But when we look at the screenshots that are available, and I dare not play any footage, I'm not going to play any footage from the trailers or anything. Very articulated. Yes, Solons, yes. How's it going? Thanks for joining. I guess I just don't see why people are mad that it's the -1 figure. Like, if the CGI model for Great Clash Godzilla is the -1 one with the Ride dorsal plates, then that's what this figure is. So the thing that everyone begs for is right here. Now, maybe what I'm seeing is the disappointment because it's a bunch of people who don't like the -1 figure in general, which is probably some of the case as well. It's not people are disappointed, it's the same mold. It's disappointed that they're using the -1 mold. That's valid. I think this figure, paint wise, for the people that are kind of worried about that, is going to come out better because there's less paint on this design. He doesn't have the scars, so, or it doesn't have the scars, so you can see the cheek. The cheek is clear, the eyebrow's clear. It's basically supposed to all be the same color. Although you can see down at the toe tips that this is actually a prototype mold and not just a retail -1 body with the dorsal plates. So something, I don't know why they would do that if it wasn't a brand new sculpt. So maybe there's more changes to this than meets the eye, or maybe they're planning more. We did get just kind of flat out told that during Tamashii Nations 2025, we will get more information on this guy. I would not be surprised if this Godzilla is the next announcement for the next figure reveal for pre-order. I would likely say this probably is the next one or one of the next ones. That would be my assumption. Of course, I might not be right on that. And of course, they might make it a premium Bandai, which, once again, if you're not importing, if you're in the US and you're just buying from US retailers, that's what I recommend. 100%. I think that's the best choice. Yeah, I can't get my mouse to charge at all. That is not a good thing. That's what I recommend. I don't recommend importing right now. Even to people that are YouTube content creators that it's just like an extra hobby that you don't want to be stressed with. I would also recommend just waiting for the US releases unless it's something you absolutely have to have. I don't blame people for importing 2000 at all, especially because a lot of the US retailers were also sold out. So you didn't have a choice. Now that once we knew that shipping from Japan was super, super, uber expensive. Oh, excuse me. So, but I think the most important thing about this reveal, and I think this is what Tamashii MonsterArts team is thinking as well, if we put out, now obviously this isn't 100% guaranteed because we've seen a lot of releases that it's just the Godzilla. Oh, that's okay, sons. This video will hopefully be up after the fact, and you can continue right where you left off and rewatch. But hey, can't wait for this stuff coming out. Of course. Have a good rest of your shift, man, at work. Hopefully it's good. I think the main thing to take away from this Godzilla specifically being released is that, all right, see, I keep doing what you do. Thank you. That's so cool. So I shoot. Let me take a drink again. My brain just stopped. Okay. The main thing to take away from this Godzilla specifically being made is that now Mechagodzilla the Ride Kiju Breaker is very, 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 very likely, which if you guys already knew, which probably most of you do, that there was already a Chigoken announced for Kiju Breaker. It was already revealed. That is, unless it's going to be an X MonsterArts collab figure, which they honestly could do. It would not be a bad idea for them to do, but I keep reaching for my mouse, but obviously it's charging. Unless they're going to make that figure scale with this Godzilla, because he's not that much larger. We see that in the trailer. If you guys have seen the trailer during Godzilla Fest, or just in general, you can look it up. I believe it's on YouTube. That Mechagodzilla is taller than Ride, but he's not it's not like King Ghidorah and Godzilla scale. It really is kind of that maybe 120 meters. I'm sure the actual stats are out there, so I probably could just look it up, but I'm gonna be done with it. Um, what's important is if that's a collab figure, then we know we'll be in scale with this -1, or if it's not in scale and it's 8 inches, that means that Monster Arts could do their own. Which, if they just take the sculpt from the Chigokin, take all the electronics out of it, just throw a little bit of die cast in some different spots, I think that Mechagodzilla would end up potentially being one of the best releases in history. I think it could top Kiryu for Mechagodzillas, because that's the best Mechagodzilla release out of all of them, all the iterations and all their various releases, is still Kiryu, Shinigawa Final Battle Kiryu. Um, that Kiryu is the best out of all of them. I don't think there's too much debate. I guess you could say that the Tokyo SOS one also is like right up there. But the first release of Kiryu isn't, because it just, it doesn't have as many accessories as Final Battle. So it has more accessories, so it gets a little bit more love. But I think this Mechagodzilla Kiju Breaker could end up being one of the next best Mechagodzillas, and just one of the best in the line in general. So it's a design I would really like, and that's what I mostly took away from the ride being revealed once I knew it was official. Once I knew this was official, I was like, oh, so Kiju Breaker. Oh, Ghidorah the ride. Oh, Godzilla the ride from the first one that actually does have a different design. Um, that should absolutely 100% not be the -1 sculpt. It should not. It has different proportions. The skin textures are different. It's basically those dorsal. That's probably the only thing that they could reuse is the dorsal plates from this release and just throwing them on there. But even still, they look different. Completely different arms and hands, different neck, different head. Hopefully, this figure can open the door to the rest of them, and even Rodan. Hopefully that's what I took away, is this is the feelers to see if we really do want the ride iterations. I know Godzilla the ride has been probably one of the most requested figures I've seen, and the general comments for MonsterArts is people want the ride. I want the ride. So the ride 1.0, pre -1 the ride. Godzilla 21. It came out in 21, so yeah, Godzilla 21. If I'm talking about Ultima 21, I say Ultima 21. So when I say Godzilla 21, I mean the ride. Oh god, and then GVK came out that day too. Gosh, so many Godzillas in 2021. Isn't that crazy? 3 Godzillas. 3. 1 legendary, 2 Toho, with 1 live action and 1 anime. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. That was the year we started the channel. Man, that edible is already hitting me, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm sure that's obvious. But yeah, so I look at this as less of it being a Godzilla release off on its own. I'm looking at this as the ball opener for everything else. And that's what I'm excited about. Here's the plaque. It just proves that it's, that this is, yes, it's a MonsterArts. It's real. I didn't see this until I got into the stream. I only saw the photo of the figure. I honestly thought it was a custom, because I was like, oh, the dorsal plates. Those are different. That's cool. But nope. Obviously, it's real. It's right here, display only. Tamashi did make a little suggestion that we're definitely going to be finding out more on this guy in 2 weeks at the Tamashi Nations 2025 event. There was also a comment, I believe it was one on one of the Tamashi posts, but maybe it was someone reporting for Tamashi that's not like directly on the payroll of Tamashi, saying that there would be a few more MonsterArts reveals. I want to say that again, a few more MonsterArts reveals at Tamashi Nation 2025. And that doesn't surprise me. We've talked about it a few times on the channel, and we're doing a live stream about it next week, before the event. my predictions on what will be revealed. Um, so it's basically going to be a top 10 and a top 10 and a top like 5 or 7. I haven't decided yet. We're going to be going through the 10 MonsterArts that I think could be revealed at Tamashii Nation 2025. Most of them are going to be realistic guesses, and then I'm going to add in a few that are like my own personal wants as well, because I don't want to just be like strictly. My webcam is blocking Godzilla. Let's do this. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't even realize I was blocking his head for a while. Okay, so just to show that that is the -1 sculpt. I thought during the stream that maybe it was a little different. No, 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 no. That's just the -1 sculpt. So maybe with better teeth paint than typical. Maybe that's why it looks so much different. I don't know. And kind of that pose. I don't have either, or the 3 of my -1s aren't in that like kind of hunched over lean down pose with the head leaning that much up. So my -1s are all kind of like up and kind of looking like 2014, honestly, in their pose. But yeah, there's going to be a few of my own personal wish list things that I don't necessarily think are going to be there. That would be like genuine surprises, but most of it's going to be realistic. And I can tell you, after this reveal, the list has changed quite a damn bit. So this -1, the Great Clash, will not be counted because we do know that it will be at the Tamashii Nations event. They said that's where we're getting more information. It's why I think this might be the general release announcement for this month, because we didn't get one, and we have 2 sets of pre-orders already happening. We just had a few pre-orders happen last night on the 4th, the 5th now in Japan, but it was the 4th for them at the time. Or no. Yeah, that's about right. I believe they're just getting into tomorrow. So, or we're still a few hours early, so they're like late night on the 4th. But and then there's some on the 7th. Mostly reissues, which is this kind of what they do before Tamashii Nations. They announce a ton of reissue characters from all of the lines on the 7th. MonsterArts doesn't have one because we've gotten our 2 reissues for the year, the -1 and Godzilla 20 Final Wars. I almost said 2004, but that's correct, but that's just a weird way of saying it. Oh my goodness, did you hear my belly? I apologize. I didn't get to eat before live streaming, which is probably why this edible is kicking my ass right now. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I had to clean this. But yeah, so that's basically the list has changed, but there's going to be some fun ones and some, ones that I think. I know Sharktopus at some point will probably say Kaiser Ghidorah. Probably. Maybe. I think Kaiser, as a spoiler, Kaiser does likely have a pretty good chance of actually being a realistic choice. I think they're going to be doing basically one really, 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 really expensive one every year. I think that's what they're going to be doing. I think they're going to be doing one really, 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 really expensive one every year. Was it this post? Oh, here it is. Okay, so yes, this was Tamashii. Also look forward to Tamashii Nation 2025. There may even be more new info. Okay, so that's them teasing more information on this, the Godzilla, the Ride of the Great Clash. They're talking about this. So, okay. So they didn't tease more MonsterArts. At least in that post. But I want to get him brought up here quick. Do that. Do this. Let's do I actually haven't been checking chat very much. Oh, That's okay. No one's watching. That's all good. All right, where are we at right now? So yeah, so the Great Clash. Very, very excited for the Great Clash. Um, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I think, even though it is like it's basically -1 for me. I love this sculpt, so I don't mind adding more in. It's just gonna be interesting to have this sculpt with different dorsal plates next to the regular -1, because now it's like we're in a world where it's like you can make the same Godzilla look like it's fighting itself canonically because it's two different iterations. Or not canonically, but like so I don't would say that 95 burning and the very barely in the movie regular 95 Godzilla suit, which is basically the 94 suit, could fight, but 94 Godzilla and 95 could fight because they're different years. You know what? That doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's cool to finally have articulated forms to be able to do the ride versus -1. That sums it up. That makes it easy. Whether it's the ride 1.0 or the ride 2.0 like this, it doesn't matter. Or the ride 2025 and the ride 2021. There we go. It's cool to be able to finally just have some toys to clash with. We're not smashing our toys together, but we're going to pretend like we are. Oh my goodness, my tummy is so hungry. we might end this one a little quick. One, because I'm kind of bonkered right now. I'm not gonna lie, guys. We're here pretty honest, but that's kind of it about the Great Clash. I feel like I'm gonna keep rambling and not making sense, and I'd rather move on to Kaiser Belial than that. So my thoughts, I'm excited for it. Yes, it's basically just like a simple retool. I'm okay with that. I think it's more for the possibilities of getting the other ride characters that interest me more. So if we have to use a basically free money for Tamashi because they just just put new dorsal plates on it, then I will accept that if that means we can get Kiju Breaker in the line, or the Chigokin is going to be an X MonsterArts and then they're going to scale it down, or we can get Ride Ghidorah or the Ride 21 design, which won't be a retool. It'll be mostly different. I mean, the general shape of it would be the same as this, but it should have a completely new sculpt because the skin textures are different. That he's got more of the typical look, where -1 has got this kind of like super rugged, just really, really almost hurt looking, sculpt. He looks like he's constantly in pain, kind of like Shin. Which I don't think he is, but you know what I'm saying. Hopefully. But we're gonna move on from the Great Clash, and we're gonna talk about the Mac Daddy of Evil right here. Ew. Ew. Yeah, we're talking about him. Belial, Kaiser Belial, finally getting a release, which, if this, the biggest shock to me, because I didn't even notice it when we had a few of the promo photos, I did not realize that this was cloth. I didn't think this was cloth. I thought it was a big old plastic cape. And it's not. Fun fact, it isn't. And it is a textured fabric cape. And it looks so good. It's 3 different pieces. It says it in here. 3 different pieces, and then obviously the top part. That is, that's going to be plastic. That's going to be what holds it together. But look at it's such a good looking cape. Now, I will admit, and this kind of has personal charm to me, it doesn't look, they didn't do any really attempt to match the color of the fabric on the plastic one. to the cape, and I know the cape has different tones in the movie, but I feel like it should be a little darker, just a little bit more. But I kind of like it because it does make it look a little bit more like anime-esque, which, Ultraman, they trade back and forth, on referencing each other, because obviously Dragon Ball makes Ultraman references, design wise and just like parody wise. So then it's kind of funny that we have like this. It almost makes him look just like, I don't know. It makes him pop a little bit. Okay, and I like it. I really do like it. So, I do like the cape. I'm not bothered by it, but it is something to note. The jewels look really good. We get a really good angle of the scar. Oh my goodness. I hope that maybe they went and improved the jaw movement, but probably not. He looks good. I don't. He's like sitting on his throne. Obviously, they don't have a throne here because they didn't want to include it. What's really cool is we get the Giga Battle Nizer, but this is the Mons loaded activated version, so you can see here instead of the blue or purple that's in the regular Belial release from many years ago, 7 years ago if I'm not mistaken, 6, 7, 8, something like that. Instead of being that blue or purple, these are red, so it's the activated version. This is a bonus with it, so that means if Kaiser Belial is ever reissued again, he will not have the Giga Battlenizer. They say additionally it's included as a bonus effect, and Nin Games specifically said that it was a limited edition bonus with this. So if Kaiser ever comes out again, it probably will not have the Battlenizer. Or it might be the version that's included with the original Belial. It could be that color, the non-powered up version. It also does come with the Decium Beam. Really glad that they did that. It is technically a different sculpt because this is on a different hand. This is his like super angry claw hands. But it's probably basically the same. I should have brought mine out and compared the two on the screen. Just to kind of see, but it looks a little different, and he's just got that aura. Look at that. Yeah, so much aura. He is aura farming. Am I saying that correctly? I'm old, okay, so I don't know how you kids talk. I just hear it at work. It's crazy. Or Joseph uses it in the group chat. Man, I'm so mad I wasn't able to get this pre-order in. Once again, not because I'm mad about having to pay for it right away, but I would rather actually, moving forward, would like my pre-orders to be mostly paid for or 100% paid for while making it. I want to get back on doing that rather than the pay laters. It will help me be more responsible and, more importantly, help me budget out my purchases. So when we're going into next year and we're going in Japan, we're going to Japan in July, this will be a video or a live stream once we get a little closer, but I kind of will show you what I'm thinking about for next year. Because I'm going to Japan in July. That is the plan. We're doing it. It's happening. I am going to have to pre-order less. Basically, kind of like where we're at right now is basically going to be some of my last pre-orders. So this Belial, not only, whoa, oh my goodness. Ooh, sorry. My wake-up alarms are still on at full volume. I apologize, everyone. That made me jump. We're going to turn these off. There you go. Sorry about that, everybody. So not only am I disappointed because this is one of my favorite characters, I've been waiting for the Kaiser Belial release even more than the regular Belial release, and it's been so long, which I'm okay with because now they were comfortable enough to do this really expensive cape for him, We've been getting quality capes from this line since the first ones, the Ultra Mantle, and I'm glad that they're continuing to do it with Belial, and they didn't do what they did with the Belial, no, not Belial, the G Mega Master form, the King form, the King and Belial form, where that one's a plastic cape. So I'm glad that they moved away from doing that. And then it seems like every figure that has a cape is going to be hopefully getting a cloth cape, and a high quality one at best. So this is the full array of accessories. Once again, in future releases, it might be possible that that Giga Battleizer is not included, or it's the powered down version of it. I do like that it's included. I do like that it is the red one. That was kind of something that I was thinking in my brain that I wanted. So I'm glad that it came to fruition. Obviously, he has another set of hands that's not pictured, and that's the regular kind of, the pose hands from the other Belial releases with the non-extended Angry Claw hands. I do kind of wish that they had the new ones that were included with the one that just released, the Max Heels version, where he's they're more grippy. Like these, the ones that are here on the screen, he's got some wide display ones, and then he's got kind of like just, they're more relaxed pose hands. You can use them for grabbing, but they don't look quite right. Either set really doesn't. And then they included these new ones that are kind of more the typical like Dragon Ball Kamehameha hands. So it would have been nice to get that claw as well, but you know, you win some, you lose some. We got a really nice cape, so I'm gonna try not to complain too much. And we did get a good, the head sculpt is even better than the regular releases, which already a good head sculpt. So I'm really excited for this release. What's probably going to happen is I'm just going to get it from the USP Bandai website. Because it's pay right away and the shipping's paid, so it'll just be 100% paid for, and then it probably will be delivered while I'm in Japan. Like, I might not have it in my hands before Japan, and there's probably going to be a moment where I could just buy it in Japan instead. So sucks to suck for me, but that will be pretty like heartbreaking. So, you know, maybe if financials are looking good and that's something that I could do, maybe I could buy basically an additional Belial for like a giveaway or something. Not gonna promise that, you know. I do want to do a giveaway on the channel eventually at some point, but I gotta make sure that I can financially afford that. So that's why it hasn't happened yet. You know, we're being responsible. So, but maybe next year if I get a little antsy in Japan, and I'm able to find one of these in Japan, and I still have my U.S. pre-order because you can't cancel from P Bandai. Maybe that's what I could do. Otherwise, technically, you need two for the collection because you need one to be able to wear the cape, and you need one to not have the cape on. So I could do it for that too. So we could, you know, there's some shenanigans. We'll see if I want to go that crazy with it. I really do like the figure, but I don't know if I want two of them on my shelf just because I want one with the cape on and one with not, you know. There's going to be multiple zeros in the collection at some point, but, you know, they all have ways to make themselves look different, whether it's armor pieces or some with the zero sluggers in his hand, some without, you know, some with the mantle, some without, you know, or most of them without, and basically only one on, two on technically. But I don't want to go that crazy with it. Like, I'm going to get multiples in the future of certain Ultramen. So like once we get the Ace Killer set and they've got the crucifixions with some of the Ultramen in there, I want to get dedicated Ultras for that display. So I will permanently have some Ultras in regular poses on the shelves, probably with their mantles on, and then I'll have those ones on there. So that would be like a set of doubles. I typically don't do that in collections, but I think that would be fun for my Ultraman collection. So it's something I'm considering. And as to quote myself, the the very future end game goal of my Ultraman collection. Same thing with MonsterArts, where I want to have every single MonsterArts release. I want to have multiple scenes of certain Ultramen on my display. So we will be buying multiples. Also, I want to have every accessory available, and with these new gen versions of the new gens, they've been having different accessories. Some have different, some have other things. So it makes it also worth it to get the older versions, so I can have all the accessories for all the versions of the character. You know, so Zero's got 3 releases. Jeed has 3 releases. Technically 4, actually. Right? Because there's an exclusive that's just the red-eyed head, if I'm not mistaken. There might be 4 Jeeds. Ooh, that'd make me a little sad, a little upsetty spaghetti. Okay, that's okay. I like Jeed, so we can get multiple Jeeds, I guess. Well, maybe not, because I don't know if I'm going to do a collect everything from the Ultraman line. Because I'm for the kaiju, I'm getting the best versions of them, unless it's like Pandon, where there's the mecha version and the regular version. So to buy the first release and then the episodic release version isn't a bad idea, because then one can just be the regular and one can just be the mecha. Or Pandan 2, whatever the hell it's called. So I can put those pieces in. You know, could technically do a third as well, because I need one with the head, you know, lopped off and laying on the ground, but that's pushing it. For an expensive release, not worth it. Plus, then if they ever do a future one, I could just get that one then. Excuse me. My voice is running dry a little bit, not gonna lie. So, actually, maybe that's a good stopping point for today. If my voice is dying, I don't want you guys to have to listen to ultra super gravelly me, and I feel like I'm kind of just like nonsensically bumbling around on screen. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just makes for a goofy video for you guys to watch, if it's, you know, tangible. So but I think we're actually gonna call it here, because there's not much else that, like, honestly, that got announced. Like, obviously the Giant Condor's out. They put out an insane Godzilla store exclusive Giant Condor shirt. If you guys haven't seen it yet, the Giant Condor shirt is literally hilarious. It is so funny. You can tell they are absolutely so mad that we voted that in. They are mad. They are so mad. It is funny. They didn't even announce another voting poll this year because they were so mad. Oops. We got the damn Giant Condor. It's crazy. I will be pre-ordering it. It comes out next month. I think they said December on the USG store. So I will, as long as it's not sold out, I will be trying to get the figure and the shirt. So I would like to have both. That Giant Condor shirt, if it is out before my Japan trip, which it should be, it should not take 7-8 months for it to release. It should be there for the Japan trip. That's a guaranteed wearing at Japan shirt, or when I go to conventions like G-Fest. That shirt will always be in my wardrobe. It's kind of like my Cavity Colors tie-dye Awakening Shin. You know, the Godzilla where it's roaring and it's the nice purple. Do I have it right here? I thought it is in my laundry. It must be cleaned. It is very dirty. I wore it to the gym. Is this it? It is. This shirt. This is always in my G Fest luggage. I always wear this shirt. I love this shirt. This is maybe my favorite shirt I own. Maybe. Maybe. It's that one's either my favorite or one of my vintage 10th anniversary Slipknot debut uh, Slipknot all over t-shirts, which I always typically bring for my first day of my convention. So normally if so like when I'm there, if I go next year, I think I'll be in on Thursday and not Wednesday, because it's probably just going to be me. It might be me and Larissa, but I would probably assume, if I go, it's probably me. Um, and I'm not currently planning on bunking otherwise, but obviously that might change. You know, might have a friend that might need a room, and obviously splitting will save us both some money, and then we get to all hang out. So, um, but oh, what the hell? Oh, yeah, but probably not. You know, to make the trip even a little bit cheaper because we're going to Japan. I'm cutting that Wednesday off. I really did like coming in on Wednesday. This year, this past year, 2025. Coming in on Wednesday was, I can't put it into words. It was immaculate. It absolutely made the trip that much better. You know, um, it was insane hanging out with all of my boys an extra day. It was, I'm so thankful for it. I'm really, really thankful I was able to, you know, skeet out the trip and make sure, you know, it was a little financially rough there, but we did it, and it was fun, and it was well worth the ramen for about a month after uh, mostly only eating ramen for a month. Uh, it was worth it. So um, I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't. It was it was a little stressful at times. You know, being delayed both on the arrival and on the flight home. That past Monday, I got delayed both damn times. It was just storming the whole time. Uh, Here back home in my state while I was on that trip. So really, really annoying. Um, but that's the, you know, the luck of traveling. You know, I had no issues the years before. Actually, would get to Chicago early, and I would get back from Chicago early. So, you know, I'd get home early, like a good hour ahead of schedule, just because it's basically their only flight those days. But of course, now that airport actually isn't. It got bought out by Delta and American, I think. Now it has those full priced plane tickets, so now it's not even worth for me to drive up there to fly out of there because it used to be only about 200 bucks. If I got my tickets really early, it was only about 170 um, for me, and then I would just have to drive 2 hours up there, leave my car at the airport, you know, fly to Chicago, come back, and then drive home. It sucked. The drive home is awful, you know, because by that point, you know, after traveling all day and saying goodbye and being, you know, sad but happy, you know, hoping to wish to see everyone next year, hopefully. Um, you know, it makes the travel home hard, and then being stuck in a damn car after being stuck in a plane. But um, but it was so much cheaper because that plus the gas was still only about $300, where flying out of where I live now is $500 every time. It's 500-600 bucks, and now because Delta owns the flights out of there, it's 500 or 600 bucks to just fly out of there. They just went up 200%. So now it's not even worth, which is kind of sad. I don't get up that way much anymore. So, but that is what it is. Um, but I really, really, really would like to. I would like to go to G Fest next year. I guess because I'm kind of on this. I don't remember really how I got to G Fest and talking about G Fest. I'm going to be honest. But I might as well finish out my point because I do have a little bit. I do want to talk about it because it is tentatively in the plans to be there, but obviously, we're really going to be cutting ourselves financially thin, as things the financials of the whole government right now are kind of on a free fall as well. So we'll see what we're gonna do. I will it's too if it's too financially challenging, even if by that time I have two jobs to be able to do both, I will have to cut G Fest. That just is what it is. But we'll see. And that, like, how many pre-orders do I cut? How much? Basically, earlier the point was to say I'm going to be cutting pre-orders out because I'm just going to be like, well, if I can get it in Japan and it'll be cheaper because yen is still a lot less than the dollar. If I can go to Japan and just buy the Trigaron, I believe that's the second armor set. So if they announce that, or even the Phoenix forms for Omega, they announce all the kaiju and the two ultra forms. Like, I'm just gonna wait until I go to Japan to get those instead of pre-ordering those. Um, even if it's after. So basically, like, I'm gonna be saving on the Ultramen. I am gonna try to get most of the kaiju and villains. Obviously, I tried gunning for Belial because I'm nervous that there's not gonna be any in Japan when I go there. This is a very popular release. I would actually honestly expect them to be doing a second run of these. I wouldn't be surprised. I think they're going to do like a second production run, to which that's going to be delayed a month or two. So I guess if that one ends up coming, they do second production run and it releases in July, then I might actually back off and be like, okay, there's going to be a secondary run. There's going to be plenty on the aftermarket then. Hopefully. I should be able to pick one up at a Mandarake or a secondhand Ami Ami, or at any general shops. I've been told by Matt and them that SH Figure Arts Ultraman figures are literally everywhere. So you never know what you'll find, and that's really cool in and of itself. So, and that's kind of what I'm going to be doing for a lot of my my aftermarket purchases, because like I want Panda in my collection. I want to get a lot more of the kaiju. Instead of worrying about that for like Bai auctions or Mandarake, it's just too expensive to ship out of Japan. So I'm going to be not doing aftermarket purchases, if that makes sense. Same thing with MonsterArts. Probably not going to be buying a lot outside of pre-orders next year, just to save for Japan, because I'm probably 90% of the time not going to get a better deal, even considering shipping from Japan as of right now with tariffs. Probably not going to get a deal here in the US that's better than a price I could get for in a Mandarake. Even if I had to ship it to myself, it would still probably be cheaper to buy an imported one from Japan, get it shipped, pay a tariff, than buy one on an aftermarket here. Typically, even in the Facebook groups, I've been noticing aftermarket on these have been expensive. Some prices have gone up considerably. A little scared. But yeah, after this year, we're gonna try to do. There's a few, aftermarket MonsterArts available on BBTS right now that I want to get. They've got Ghidorah 2019s. I would like to get that before the end of the year. I still have to get Mechagodzilla 21 and Suko and Mothra New Empire. Those two I have to get before the end of the year. Well, I don't have to, but I would really, really like to get them. That way I can have all the 2025 releases, so I can do an actual, like, complete, like, MonsterArts tier list of 2025 releases, so we can actually talk about um, what is actually not really good and what's actually good and not bad. So, because there's probably a few releases that are going to be a little closer to the middle than I think most people would expect. You know, I do like a certain big ice dragon a lot. Um, she is a lot of fun. Posing her for photos. Now, obviously, she could be a little bit better because she could have articulated toes, but there's neither here nor there. I'll give the high of that. The toes that is really cool. That is cool. That is cool. So, I think that's it. I think I've rambled on enough. Oh, but on that point of pre-orders, MonsterArts will be. I'll be getting every MonsterArts that I need. So every Movie Graphic Plus, every web exclusive, every general release, we will be getting. So like Great Clash, 100%. Yes. Um, and the releases after that, you know, 54 in 2014 in 3 days. Yes, we'll be doing that. I will be pre-ordering 2014 and 54 movie graphic pluses. We will be because they come out before the trip, you know. So MonsterArts will be keeping up. It's whatever the July release ends up being. That's where I'm gonna be like, do I pre-order it just to be safe, or can I just go and get it release day, which was the plan with 2014, but I realized that the July release date is the US release date for 2014 and not the Japanese release date. So I'm going to be in Japan in July, so it's not releasing in July, so it can't be the 2014. And I'm not going to wait that long to get 2014 because I don't have the first one anymore. So I don't have a 2014 in the collection, so I want it. And I think it's the best looking one so far. I hope they do a Spitfire version of this new updated quote unquote 2014. So that's what I hope, because it'll have the new shoulder range. It should have new neck range, it looks like, from the photos. But it could be some photo angle trickery as well. So we'll see. We'll see. Some, distortion with your angle. But yeah, so whatever comes out in July, I might not pre-order. But maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see on the channel. Because once I get to Japan, a lot of my purchases are going to probably be Shin related. Because by that point we should have some Shin 10th anniversary merch in Japan, some new stuff. We should have some new Marusan colorways. When Summer Wonderfest will have passion tanks, frog trees. Sarajarushi should have one, or he might do an awakening one this year. Maybe not gonna say that I know that for sure, but he could. And obviously I would like to get every single one. Sun Guts as well. I just want all of them. So while I'm there in Japan, because that's the cheapest way to get those Wonderfest figures, is being in there. But you have to get a priority ticket, you have to do this, you have to do that, so it's going to be it's going to be hard to do that. So I'm not holding on to hope that I'm going to be able to do it, because I could even get a priority ticket and still not be one of the first people in. And I've been told the last few years at Summer Wonderfest, the high ticket Safubi for Godzilla stuff, so like the frog trees, Sarjarushi, the collab colorways on the Passion Tank molds, the Blopus, Blopus, the Blopus, I believe is how it's pronounced. Those sell out really quick, and those are the ones that I really really want. You know, I have to get the Sarajarushi. I just have to. You know, and then I have to get the frog trees and the passion tanks. I love me some passion tanks, so I love me some Shin. So my Wonderfest haul next year is basically just gonna be Shin Godzilla stuff, as much as I can get. I'm gonna aim to get every. The plan is to get every Shin Godzilla Safubi mold, every release, every colorway that's available at Summer Wonderfest next year. If I can get priority, the goal is to get every single one. So a frog tree does 3 of them. Goal is to try to get all 3. If Sarajarushi does 2, you know, 1 base and 1 awakening, the goal is to have both. And you know, if Passion Tank does 2, that's the goal. So, you know, stuff like that. So that to get every single colorway, you know, if Sun Guts does all 3 forms, to get all 3 forms. If Max Toy does a Shin Godzilla, to get that, you know. And then any other company that I haven't named, just to get as all of them that I can, because that will be the best time to do it. So I can go a little crazy. I can build up a Safubi collection of Shin Godzillas like I want to, and I can get them all for retail, which is really extra cheap for me. You know, we're talking 30,000 yen, 35,000 yen, rather than, you know, 100,000 yen on the Sarajarushi, then $100 shipping, you know, stuff like that. So that is my goal, to get as many as I can. And then maybe some of the extras, so like the frog trees, the -1 I would really like if it's a colorway I can bond with. The one that released this year, the fire one, with the fire color and the blue, that's going to be a tough one to beat next year. I'm really partial to that one, but they probably won't reissue that colorway. So, and I'm not going to pay aftermarket prices on it. It's more than I'm willing to spend on a non-Shin Godzilla Safubi. I think it's worth it. It's beautiful. I just, you know, gotta be smart purchaser. But if I could get one for a really good deal, I would consider. But not likely. Now, if there's one at G-Fest, maybe if it's affordable next year, and it's likely that there will be, because there was a lot of the 2024 exclusives at this year's G-Fest at 2025. So I'm going to assume that next year, a lot of the 2025 exclusives will be at next year. So if I go next year, it's a likely chance that I could see the Summer Wonderfest -1 available at G-Fest. Now, by that point, it's probably going to be closer to the 4 digits rather than the 3 digits. I would have to really love it when I walk into that G-Fest room if I go to buy it for that much, because that probably would be taking out of my Japan budget or all of my G-Fest budget. And I am going to try to hold out a little hope that if I go, that there's going to be some older MonsterArts figures maybe. This year there was some. They were just kind of on the more pricier side. But if I can do some MonsterArts hunting and get some of the ones that are harder to find in Japan, there are some that are easier to get over here than over there. I would be willing to spend that on it at G-Fest, and save some bagging space for other things for Japan, if that makes sense. So I'd be willing to spend a little extra here to save a little bit of space for more things over there, because then I can just work some overtime or something or sell some things by that point. So yeah, I think that is it for me, everybody. I think I've gone on enough rambling. I want to thank everyone for watching. and hanging out during the stream. I know it was very early, so I do apologize for that. I do apologize for the stream being pretty early, um, but you know, got to work with my schedule and my budget. And honestly, I'm getting hungry as heck right now. Um, Getting some munchies, so I'm gonna go have some eats, um, relax a little bit. You know, we we've got to enjoy the night. I've got to plan my videos for this week. I got to get everything figured out. Probably going to be releasing a short tomorrow. It'll, it, it's probably gonna be Legion. I don't know. We're doing a Legion short, so you guys through that short will hopefully, the plan is hopefully to see Legion in the review display to see how nice she looks on screen, you know, with the lights on her, so I can hopefully show off how beautiful she is on camera, because I can tell you guys my webcam did her literally no justice. Legion is gorgeous. I have been, before stream started, I was actually a few minutes late, um, after taking Tater out and getting ready. I sat down and looked up, and I was just staring at Legion. I realized I was sitting there for like 2 minutes, and I was like, whoops, I could have started stream, you know, just a few minutes earlier, which is funny because I actually had an issue, starting my first stream. So there was two notifications, so I do apologize as well, for anyone with notifications on to, you know, use two dings. I do apologize. So, but we gotta work and we gotta hang out. That was fun. Gotta sit here and just kind of, you know, gotta just sit here and talk, which I enjoy doing to some bit, obviously, because I keep doing it in these streams. So, it's a win-win for everyone, I think. So, hopefully, if you guys are here at the end in the future, thank you guys for sticking all the way through. I really do appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Hopefully you guys got lucky on your pre-orders. I would expect Belial is going to be on the US P Bandai store. Probably going to be 110, 120 bucks. It's basically the same price as Hyper Zeton, and Hyper Zeton was 120 on P Bandai. So I would guess that Belial is probably going to be 120. Could be 110 because it is technically cheaper. But I feel like, you know, the cloth cape kind of is like a big deal. That's where a lot of the upcharge in it basically doubles in price, and it basically is akin to the cloth cape. So that's a lot of the figures budget is on this cape. So, which is why we didn't get a new Belial mold either. It seems to be the same exact one, which is kind of disappointing because I still don't like the articulation in the wrists. Not the biggest fan personally. I don't feel like it gets quite enough, especially when I'm posing it with the Battlenizer. But you know, I'm more than likely going to be I'm getting my notifications. There you go. We'll click off of there. We'll do this. We'll leave our videos up. Hopefully I wasn't getting notifications that whole time. It didn't look like it. No, I just got two here, so yeah, we didn't get any. Perfect. I completely lost what I was saying. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is not because I'm high. That is because I literally, that just happens. I think that happens once a stream, right? I think so. Yeah, I don't. Nope, we lost it. All right. Well, that's my reason to say salutations. We'll see everyone later. Take care. Thank you guys for watching, Sans. Thanks for anyone viewing here or in the future. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow with a short, and then hopefully a review by Thursday or Friday. Yeah, we're gonna see. She might take longer. So, bye guys.